Filipino workers and local workers. 2. Tulong panghanap buhay sa ating displaced, disadvantaged workers or TUPAD sanitation project. And 3. Daabot kamay ang pagtulong or AKAP sa OFWs program. Provided that the beneficiaries of the aforementioned shall be separate and distinct from those already covered by social amelioration programs by other agencies of the national government. Aprobado na po ang rekomendasyon ng DOLE ukol sa social amelioration program para sa formal workers. Sinusuportahan ng IATF ang request ng DOLE para sa pag-release ng 5 bilyong piso para sa programa ng DOLE tulad ng una, COVID-19 Adjustment Measures Program or CAMP para sa affected overseas Filipino workers and OFWs and local workers. Pangalawa, tulong panghanap buhay sa ating displaced, disadvantaged workers or TUPAD sanitation project. At pangatlo, ang abot kamay ang pagtulong or AKAP sa OFW program. Lilinawin ko po na iba po ito ang mga subsidiya na ito sa ESP or Emergency Subsidy Program ng DSWD para sa mga targeted beneficiaries. Letter B. The IATF shall exhaust all means necessary to increase the COVID-19 testing capacity of the country, and for this reason hereby adopts and approves the guidelines for COVID-19 mass testing as presented by the Department of Health. Ina-approve na po ng IATF ang mga pamantayan ng DOH para sa pangmalawakang testing ng COVID-19. Gagawin po ang lahat ng gobyerno, ang lahat ng makakaya niya upang ma-increase ang testing capacity sa ating bansa. Letter C. The recommendations of the Department of Agriculture in ensuring food availability and food affordability as presented are hereby approved. The specifics of which are the following. Number 1. The boosting of domestic agricultural production and food processing in the country. All the agriculture and fishery stakeholders must be considered frontliners, and their movements shall remain unhampered. Number 2. The improvement of food adequacy levels through increased local crop and fish production and livestock and poultry raising, including that of food processing by A. Sustaining budget for agriculture, and B. Expanding support for improved agricultural production and productivity. In addition to the previously approved budget of 8.5 billion pesos for the Rice Resiliency Project, the need for additional funding amounting to 22.5 billion pesos for the Ahon Lahat Pagkaing Sapat or ALPAS program or the Plant program of the Department of Agriculture is reiterated. 3. The immediate activation of the local price coordinating councils with the guidance of the Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG to strictly monitor prices and enforce suggested retail price and price freeze for basic necessities and prime commodities. Aprobado din po ng IATF ang mga rekomendasyon ng DA para siguraduhin may murang pagkain sa ating mga palengke. Kasama sa mga rekomendasyon ay ang pagpapalago ng mga industriya ng agrikultura at food processing sa bansa. Kaya pinapaalala natin na ang mga kasama sa sa pondo ng DA para sa Ahon Lahat Pagkaing Sapat or ALPAS program or plant, program ng Department of Agriculture. Ang huling rekomendasyon ng DA ay ang magmobilisa ng Local Price Coordinating Council sa tulong ng DILG upang mabantayan ang mga presyo ng mga bilihin sa mga pamilihan. Letter D. The recommendation of the Anti-Red Tape Authority or ARTA for the creation of the Bayanihan One-Stop Shop for sectoral agencies involved in accreditation and logistics is hereby approved. Other sectoral agencies are hereby enjoined to create their own Bayanihan One-Stop Shop and coordinate closely with the ARTA for such creation. Aprobado na rin po ang rekomendasyon ng ARTA para sa pagbuo ng Bayanihang One-Stop Shop para sa mga ahensya na kasama sa accreditation at logistics. Inaanyayahan po ang ibang ahensya na makipag-ugnayan sa ARTA para bumuo ng kani-kanilang Bayanihan One-Stop Shop. Letter E. The IATF approves the request of the Department of Transportation to allow the resumption of utility relocation works and resume specified limited works across 13 rail projects, including rail replacement works for MRT3, which can only be done when MRT3 is not undergoing passenger operations, provided that 1. Limited mobilization of personnel and skeletal staffing pattern is observed. 2. On or near site accommodations and or point-to-point shuttle services are provided where applicable. Number 3, regular disinfection of workplaces, shuttles, and accommodations are done. Number 4, regular monitoring of personnel's health, especially for COVID-19 symptoms, is practiced. Number 5, strict social distancing measures and proper hand hygiene and all other precautionary measures that the DOTR may implement are observed at all times. Aprobado na rin po ang request ng DOTR na ituloy ang mga utility relocation works at iba pang trabaho sa 13 proyekto tulad ng pagpalit sa riles ng MRT3 na magagawa lamang pag walang operasyon ang MRT3. Pinapaalala lang po natin na dapat i-observe ang una, paggamit ng skeletal staffing pattern. Pangalawa, ang paggamit ng point-to-point shuttle para sa mga workers dito. Pangatlo, ang regular na disinfection ng mga workplaces. Pang-apat, ang regular na pagmomonitor sa kalusugan ng mga nagtatrabaho. At panglima, ang striktong pag-implement ng social distancing measures. Letter F. Paragraph H of the Interagency Task Force Resolution Number 18 Series of 2020, providing for a 30-day grace period extended to commercial rents falling due upon micro, small, and medium enterprises or MSMEs within the period of the ECQ without incurring interests, penalties, fees, and other charges is hereby adopted as a national policy. Thus, this policy shall apply to areas where ECQ is implemented for its duration. Ang pagbibigay ng 30-day grace period sa pagbayad ng upa ng mga MSME sa kalagitnaan ng ECQ ay ina-adopt bilang national policy kung saan ini-implement ang ECQ. Letter G. The IATF recognizes the initiatives of the Department of Trade and Industry and Board of Investments in cooperation with DOH and Food and Drugs Administration and the various manufacturers and exporters to repurpose their manufacturing operations to produce critical medical products and devices such as personal protective equipments, surgical masks, thermal scanners, and ventilators. The IATF enjoins the DOH and other public and private health institutions to consider these new capacities in their resource requirement. Kinikilala ng IATF ang mga inisyatiba at mga hakbang ng DTI, BOI, DOH, FDA at mga manufacturers at exporters sa pagre-repurpose ng kanilang mga factory para makapag-produce ng mahalagang kagamitan tulad ng personal protective equipment or PPEs, surgical masks, thermal scanners, at ventilators. Maalala niyo po na kahapon, ibinalita natin na ang mga kumpanya na kasapi ng Confederation of Wearable Exporters of the Philippines or CONWEP ay nagmamanufacture ng mga PPEs na magsisimula after Holy Week. Isa ito sa mga produkto ng initiative ng DTI at BOI kasama ang Department of Health. Ang ganitong mga inisyatiba ang kailangan natin sa mga susunod na linggo para matugunan ang mga pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan sa gitna ng ECQ. Kahapon, nakatanggap ako ng magandang balita mula sa alma mater ko, ang Philippine Science High School, na pumayag na gamitin ang Quezon City campus para sa pasyente at empleyado ng Philippine Children's Medical Center or PCMC. Pisay is not the only school that has opened their doors and opened their arms for our frontliners. The nurses and health workers of Medical City, for example, have found a new home in LaSalle Green Hills. May we all be inspired by their examples and open our hearts to those stricken by COVID-19 and those who care for them. Speaking of our health workers, the President yesterday signed Administrative Order Number 28, which grants a one-time Special Risk Allowance or SRA for frontline government health workers. Itong SRA ay ibibigay po sa mga public health workers or PHW na nagtatrabaho sa gobyerno, GOCC or LGU tulad ng mga NARS sa government or city hospitals. Ang qualified po dito ay 1. Civilian employees occupying regular, contractual, casual, or part-time positions. At pangalawa, workers engaged through contract of service or job order include 100% of their monthly salaries depending on the number of Isa pong paalala, nag-issue po ang Civil Service Commission ng Public Memorandum Circular na bibigyan ang opisyal at empleyado ng additional 60 days o hanggang June 30 para i-file ang kanilang Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth or SALN. Ulitin ko po, nag-issue po ang Civil Service Commission ng Memorandum Circular na bibigyan ang officials and employees of government ng additional 60 days o hanggang June 30 para i-file ang kanilang SALN. In the midst of this ECQ, government recognizes the importance of ensuring that families in need receive their subsidies at the soonest possible time. Nire-report po ng DSWD na tuloy-tuloy po ang pagpapaabot ng tulong pinansyal sa ating mga beneficiaries. Naibigay na po ang pondo para sa 3,723,833 4-piece beneficiaries na umabot sa 16.34 billion pesos. Nakatanggap na po ang 77,674 target beneficiaries ng Parañaque, the amount of which total 621.39 million pesos. Tuloy-tuloy po ang pakikipag-ugnayan ng DSWD para po maibigay ang tulong na ito at nakikiusap po tayo sa mga pinuno ng LGU na kung may mga concerns po tayo sa pag-distribute ng mga subsidies sa kanilang mga lugar, makipag-ugnayan ng diretso sa DSWD para matugunan agad ang mga pangangailangan sa lugar ninyo. Siguro mas mainam po na imbis na ilabas natin sa Facebook or sa social media ang ating mga concern or kahit sa anong FaceTime or app o kung ano-ano pa, direkta na lang po natin iparating sa DSWD ang ating mga concerns. Sama-sama, magtulungan po tayo para matugunan ang pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. Let us help each other, help the most needy. Together, the national government, our LGUs, the private sector, and the Filipino people can beat COVID-19. Together, we heal as one. Maraming salamat po at huwag po nating kalimutan, bahay muna, buhay muna. Sasagutin ko na po ang mga katanungan mula sa ating mga kaibigan sa media. Marami-rami po ito. From Rose Novenario of Hataw, Good AM, bakit ang Davao City pinayagan magbiyahe ang mga taxi at tricycle samantalang sa Metro Manila ay hindi at naging issue pa ito laban kay Mayor Vico? Maraming salamat po. Siguro, ang sagot natin dyan is ang entire Luzon po ay under sa enhanced community quarantine. Tapos, meron po tayong mga na-issue na guidelines. So, under yung guidelines na yun, under the enhanced community quarantine for the entirety of Luzon, ay nakapag-ugnayan po yung DILG sa lahat ng mga LGUs at nire-remind po sila kung ano yung mga pwede at hindi pwedeng gawin. Hindi naman din sa Pasig City, kundi sa lahat ng mga syudad, munisipyo, bayan, probinsya ng Luzon. So, meron pong strict guidelines na sinusundan para po coordinated ang lahat ng efforts under the ECQ. Labas naman sa ECQ ay binibigyan natin ng palugit or freedom ang iba't ibang mga LGUs gamit yung mga guidelines po ng IATF kung kailan sila pwedeng mag-community quarantine dun sa kanilang mga lugar. Pero, ganun pa man, tuloy-tuloy naman po yung pakikipag-ugnayan ng DILG sa lahat ng mga LGUs kahit sa Visayas at sa Mindanao. From Ace Romero, the President admitted that the 275 billion peso allocation for social aid package during the lockdown is not enough to help low-income households for 2 months. But based on his report to Congress, he can tap more than 800 billion from budget appropriations, repurchase deals, and dividends as permitted by the Bayanihan Law. How do you reconcile this? Yung Bayanihan Law if you notice, may leeway naman na binibigay yung Congress kung magkano yung pwedeng, kung ano yung itatap, no? Depende nga dun sa sitwasyon natin. So, ang situation natin ngayon is very fluid, di po ba? So, una, sinabi natin hanggang April 13 lang. Ngayon, in-extend natin to April 30. So, fluid po yung situation ngayon. Depende sa ano mangyayari, depende sa mga tests, depende sa health capacity natin, depende sa doubling time, acceleration, etc. etc. So, bibigyan po natin ng konting leeway din ang executive at si Pangulo depending on ano ang mga pangangailangan. How does government intend to raise funds for the social aid package at a time when economic activity is significantly slower due to temporary business closures and sidelining of thousands of workers? So siguro ito yung talagang katanungan mo, no? And kaya nga po, si Pangulo, nung binanggit niya po yung pangalan ni Secretary Dominguez, kasama rin po dyan yung buong economic team ng buong gobyerno. At ang challenge nga po para sa ating economic team is to source the money needed, no? Kasi syempre, kailangan natin mag-raise ng funds at nandito po tayo sa meron na po tayong enhanced community quarantine at it's really very challenging na marami tayong kailangan na tulungan in terms of our social amelioration. Number two, syempre yung health capacity natin na kailangan po natin i-enhance palalo, no? And then yung mga pangangailangan ng ating mga hospitals at ating mga frontliners. And then pangatlo, syempre yung economic activity is limited at kailangan din natin mag-raise ng pondo. So, yung economic team ay natasan ni Pangulong Duterte na maghanap ng ways and means talaga na makabuild up ng funds para masustain ang ating mga kinakailangan gawin ngayong enhanced community quarantine. From Maricel Halili, TV5. So that was from Ace Romero, then this time it's from Maricel Halili, TV5. How should we interpret the announcement of the President last night? When he said inclined, does it mean that he is just seriously considering the extension of the lockdown until April 30? Or does it mean that the government has already made its decision for lockdown extension in the entire Luzon? Opo, yung enhanced community quarantine is up to April 30, 11:59 p.m. Ito po ang rekomendasyon ng IATF kay Pangulong Duterte na tinanggap ni Pangulong Duterte at in-announce niya po kagabi. At pagkatapos ng kanyang announcement ay verify po namin ulit at ang sagot po ay ang enhanced community quarantine is hereby extended until 11:59 p.m. of April 30. Why have you come up with this decision? Does it mean that the COVID-19 trend is getting worse? So ito po, explain po natin. Kung maalala nyo po, yung totoong nagkaroon talaga ng enhanced community quarantine, yung full enhanced community quarantine natin ay nangyari po talaga noong March 15. Doon mo po talaga naramdaman at nakita yung effect ng implementation ng enhanced community quarantine. March 15. So, base sa siyensya at agham and the way we understand the virus, yung simptomas po niyan ay maaring lumabas after between 5 to 14 days from the time of your infection. So, sagarin na po natin ng 14 days yan. Ibig pong sabihin, kung tayo po ay nag-enhance community quarantine ng March 15, kailan po talaga natin makikita yung tinatawag na earliest effect ng ECQ? March 15 plus 14 days, sagarin na natin, equals March 29. So base sa ating mga epidemiologists, mga scientists, mga mathematicians at mga eksperto, March 29 lamang po natin makikita yung earliest effect ng ating ECQ para malaman po talaga natin kung tama itong ginawa natin, kung ano ang naging effect ng ECQ dito sa Luzon. So March 29 yan. Base din sa ating mga experts, ang most likely na makita natin ang mas klarong naging effect ng ECQ, most likely makikita natin ng mid-April. So, ganun po. Kaya paulit-ulit po namin sinasabi whether it's the IATF or the Department of Health o kahit sino man, pag tinatanong niyo po kami kung ano ang nakikita niyo naging effect ng ECQ, lagi po namin sinasabi, it's still too early to tell. Kasi naman, kahit yung epidemiologist, pag nagka-count back sila, masyado pang maaga para malaman kung nag-peak, nag-slow down, nag-decelerate, ano doubling time natin, at kung ano-ano pa. It will give us, you need to give us at least mid-April to really study the effect of the ECQ. Yun ang sinasabi ng ating mga eksperto. Kaya po, humihingi tayo ng extension up to April 30 para unang-una, ma-measure po talaga natin ano yung naging full effect ng ECQ. Pangalawa, para ma-increase pa natin lalo yung health capacity ng Luzon at ng buong bansa. Yun po ang reason natin. Doon sa pag-measure ng impact ng ECQ at itong how this COVID-19 is operating and functioning and affecting us here in the country. Ang promise po ng ating mga eksperto, every Monday po, kada Lunes, magre-report sila sa atin, sa IATF, kung ano yung nakikita nilang progression of this disease. And their report will be on a per region basis. Okay? So, yun po. Kailangan natin ng extension up to April 30 para lubos pa nating mapag-aralan ang COVID-19 na disease na to. Pangalawa, yung sinabi ko, increasing the health capacity. When we say increasing the health capacity, kasama po dyan yung tungkol sa testing. Ang sinasabi ng mga eksperto, para talagang ma-manage natin ang husto ang COVID-19, kailangan po natin iakyat palalo ang testing capacity ng ating bansa na maabot po natin ang 8,000 to 10,000 tests per day. Kailangan po tayo umabot dyan. At meron pong ginagawang hakbang ngayon ang gobyerno para umabot tayo dun sa level na yun na 8,000 to 10,000 tests per day ang magagawa natin dito sa ating bansa. Pangalawa, kahit na ginagawa natin 8,000 to 10,000 tests per day, kailangan mapabilis po natin ang pagbigay ng results ng test. So we also have to have a 24-hour turnaround time kung saan in a matter of 24 hours, dapat ma-report na agad natin sa pasyente or sa person under monitoring or patients under investigation, ma-report agad natin sa kanya kung siya ba ay positive or negative. Pangatlo, kailangan po natin ma-isolate agad. Whether PUI or positive, mild, moderate, severe, critical, kailangan maakyat din po natin yung level natin kung saan we have the capacity to isolate PUIs and COVID-19 patients. Pang-apat, kailangan ng matinding contact tracing at makita natin yung significant decrease ng kaso ng COVID-19. And then, panghuli, yung improve yung self-screening protocol ng ating mga kababayan. Kung lahat po na ito ay magagawa natin, sinasabi ng mga eksperto, maari nating ma-push palalo yung peak ng COVID-19 dito sa Pilipinas as far as year 2021. At sana, by that time, ay makapaghanap na po ng vaccine ang mundo para dito. So yun po yung game plan, na we really have to push it back, yung peak, kasi hindi pa talaga natin nakikita ang peak. Alam niyo kung saan makikita ang peak? Pag hindi natin ginawa ang lahat ng ito. So ang tanong niyo ngayon, ano ang plano ng gobyerno kung yan ang gusto ninyo? Yung 8,000 to 10,000 testing capacity per day. So unang-una, kailangan ma-maximize natin yung ating existing sub-national laboratories. So di ba, ina-announce namin every so often na nadadagdagan na po yung sub-national laboratories natin that is capable of testing. Pag ginawa po natin yung maximization ng existing sub-national laboratories natin, by April 13, aakyat na yung ating testing capacity to 2,600 to 7,000 tests per day. Number 2, kailangan po natin mag-certify ng more sub-national laboratories. Pag ginawa po natin yan, by April 20, mapaakyat na po natin ang ating testing capacity to 4,400 up to 9,800 tests per day. Pangatlo, establish big testing centers in strategic areas around the country, all over the Philippines. Strategic centers, testing centers. Pag nagawa natin yan, at lahat yan sabay-sabay ha, by April 27, aabot na po tayo to 13,000 to 20,000 tests per day by April 27. So yun po yung mga ginagawa nating hakbang para po at kaya po kailangan pa natin ng additional 2 weeks or more para umabot tayo dyan sa level na yan. Kaya po, yun ang naging desisyon ng IATF at ni Pangulo na sana maunawaan po ninyo, kailangan po talaga natin i-extend ang ECQ up to April 30. Okay? Nawala na ako. Asa na tayo? So, do you see an expansion of ECQ? Is there a need for enhanced community quarantine in Visayas and Mindanao? So, yun na nga, we'll have to monitor it, no? Day by day, we'll have to monitor that. Day by day, week by week. Kaya nga, yung ating epidemiologists at ang experts, ang promise nila that they will report every Monday sa IATF na nakikita nilang trends per region. But obviously, hindi naman tayo talagang dependent na by Monday lamang tayo magde-decide kasi 2 Monday lang yan. Ano? Siyempre, pag may nakita tayong very alarming, then we will come in, no? Or the President will come in. So, siyempre, magre-react tayo as the situation warrants. So, right now, wala pang need, no? Napag-usapan namin yan. There's no need for an enhanced community quarantine sa Visayas and Mindanao. Pero tuloy-tuloy pa po ang pag-monitor natin ito at ang DILG nakikipag-ugnayan sa lahat ng LGU at minomonitor namin, no, ang numbers, saan yung mga provinces na alarming. So lahat po yan ay tinitingnan natin. From Tina Mendez, Philstar, with the big possibility of extension of ECQ, hindi po, extended na po. What are the figures which the government is looking at that would determine we have reached the peak in the number of COVID-19 cases? Do we have a time frame? Yun na nga po. Pag sinabi mo kasing peak, pag nilift mo ang ECQ, sisipa yan. Yun ang tatlong models na po ang nakita namin. And ang constant sa model, pag nilift mo ang ECQ, sisipa pataas yan. Kasi gagalaw na lahat eh. Pag gumalaw lahat, kakalat yan. So, ano ang kailangan natin gawin? Yun na nga, taasan yung testing capability, ang testing capacity natin, no? By the way, nung sinabi kong una na ito, taasan yung testing capacity to 8,000, kailangan may 24-hour turnaround time, kailangan immediately isolate agad tayo, significant decrease in cases, contact tracing, self-assessment, ma-push natin to 2021, pero ito ang mananatiling constant, number 1, social distancing must remain constant. Number 2, yung testing turnaround is 24 hours, and number 3, patients are immediately isolated. So, kung back to normal tayo, sisipa yan. I-peak talaga yan. Sisipa yan, and it's really gonna go really high. So, pag na-in place na po natin lahat ito ng April 30, kailangan nandyan pa rin yung social distancing. So, ito yung sinasabi natin, magta-transition tayo to the new normal. And the new normal, ladies and gentlemen, is social, physical distancing pa rin. Yun. Kasi if wala yung disiplina na yan, then useless ang lahat ng ginawa nating sacrifice ngayon. Yun po ang bottom line. Kaya paulit-ulit namin sinasabi, what's the new normal? What's the new normal? Yun ang pinag-aaralan ngayon ng technical working group. What's the new normal? So when we, quote-unquote, relax the ECQ, hindi siya kasintindi ng ginagawa nating ECQ, but social distancing still has to happen. If we do that, then we don't have to even think about hitting the peak. No? Kasi pag sinabi mong peak, what's the worst case scenario? Yan ang peak eh. Ang gusto natin mangyari, hindi mag-peak, mag-flat. So even if you lift the ECQ, or not, it's not really lift eh, it's relax the ECQ. By April 30, kung lahat ng mechanisms na to are in place, social distancing still has to happen. Number 1. 2, testing still has to happen. And number 3, isolation also has to happen. Yan po ang new normal para ma-push back natin ito. So pag sinabi mong peak, yun po yung, kasi flat is not really flat eh. Flat is may konting angat na ganyan eh. We can push that back and maintain that hanggang 2021. By 2021, hopefully, a vaccine is found. Pag may vaccine na yan, then we can go back to the old normal. Something like that. No? Again, when I say something like that, I say it loosely because even the experts really don't have any answer to this. This is something very new to all of us. There are reports of increased number of deaths due to natural cases, particularly of immunocompromised patients. In reviewing the situation, how does the IATF factor in the statistics of deaths of PUIs but not actually tested for COVID-19 in the past 1 to 2 months? I think we should refer that to the experts or DOH. Pero sa akin dito, siguro ang i-emphasize ko lang, kaya nga kailangan mabilis yung turnaround time ng testing natin. And we're getting there. Number 2, has the President given consent to reclamation projects at Manila Bay? Please expound on his statements last night. Wala po. Unless you see a paper to that effect signed by him, then no, status quo pa rin. Number 3, please issue a statement on government efforts to prevent scams now prevalent in social media where hackers of FB accounts impersonate and ask money from unsuspecting contacts of a hacked account holder. Please report immediately to the PNP, Cybercrime Division, the NBI, or the CIDG. Joseph Morong, GMA 7. Why is the President saying now that the government does not have the money? No, he's not saying does not have the money. Ang sinasabi niya lang na tinatasan niya si Secretary Dominguez na right now, since we're extending the ECQ and we're doing all of these measures, and then we have to take care of our frontliners, and ngayon may pagbibigay ng social amelioration, may mga gustong sumali rin sa social amelioration. So with all of these things happening now, syempre the previous numbers don't have to change necessarily. So because of that, then we need to look for additional sources of funds. The extension, is it Luzon-wide or just NCR? Luzon-wide. How about Visayas and Mindanao? We'll continue to monitor Visayas and Mindanao, but they are not obliged or under an ECQ. What are do's and don'ts until April 30? Same rules apply. In-extend lang po natin yung April 30, ang ECQ up to April 30. So kung ano man ang mga do's and don'ts natin, sa lahat ng mga nabanggit na ng IATF, na-issue na guidelines ng IATF will remain. From Sherry Ann Torres, ABS-CBN. Number 1, may mga info na nakakarating sa amin na sa Regions 3 at 4A namimigay na rin ng cash aid, pero doon sinasabihan sila umano ng mga kinatawan ng barangay o DSWD na yung ibibigay sa kanilang 5K or 6K may kahati silang isa o dalawang kapitbahay. Ang paliwanag daw sa kanila pinagkakasya kasi ang budget, at kung hindi sila papayag wala silang makuha. Pero pag pirma mo sa receiving copy nakalagay doon ang full amount na 5,000 or 6,000. May nakarating din po bang mga ganitong info sa inyo? Personally, ako wala. Pwede po ba ang ganitong sistema? Of course, hindi. Ano po ang mangyari sa mga local na officials o DSWD personnel na papatunayang gumagawa ng ganito? Siyempre, hulihin sila ng pulis. Kaya nga po, ang under our policy guidelines, nung social amelioration, kailangan po nandun ang PNP. Pag namamahagi ng social amelioration, nandun po ang PNP na nakabantay para po kung may mga kalokohan ay agad hulihin yung mga gumagawa ng kalokohan. Joseph Moron, GMA 7, additional question. President Duterte said he will factor in the middle class in the social amelioration program. How and how much will it cost? Gaya ng sinabi niya kagabi, sabi niya pag-aralan namin, titingnan namin, pero syempre, number 1, ang unahin muna natin yung mga nangangailangan. Yung poorest of the poor, gaya ng sinabi niya. Yung marginalized sector, yung nasa non-formal, yung nasa informal, yung mga mahirap nating kababayan, yun po ang unahin natin. Pag-aaralan po itong sa middle class. Siyempre, pag-aaralan niya ng ating economic team, at pag-aaralan ang kung hindi naman social amelioration, kasi hindi sila pwede sa social amelioration. So, kailangan pag-aaralan natin, ano pang maaring programang ibigay natin sa kanila. Kasi hindi naman sila tugma sa guidelines ng social amelioration. So, there has to be another program with another fund source and another set of guidelines. So, kailangan pag-aralan pa natin yan. Because it doesn't necessarily have to be a social amelioration package also. There are other ways wherein we can help the middle class, no? And not the same as the social amelioration. From Trish Tarada, CNN. We'd just like to clarify the President's statement. Have the task force and the President decided to extend the ECQ? Yes. We've come to an agreement, and like we said, ultimately, it will be the President who will decide, and he has decided, and we verified that after he spoke in his televised statement to the nation. Is it final already, sir? Yes. What made the government arrive at this decision? Na-explain ko na po. From Prince Goles, Politico Abante. Good morning, Cabsec. Ano po yung protocol sa mga pasyenteng namatay sa COVID, particularly those who died inside their home? May ayuda po ba ang gobyerno sa pamilya ng namatayan dahil sa COVID? Yes. Na-announce po na namin ito na DSWD is giving 25,000 pesos burial assistance or assistance to the family ng namatayan. From Tuesday New, DZWD, question for Cabsec, saan hinugot ni Pangulong Duterte ang sinabi niyang nasa hangin na ang COVID-19? May official stand na po ba ang DOH o who dito? Or may official stand na po ba ang DOH or WHO? Dito at nasabi ito ng Pangulo. Ang basis po ni Pangulo, sa mga, meron din siguro mga nakapanood nito, may isang Japanese television news network na lumabas ng news report, no, or documentary, if you will, kung saan pinag-aralan ng mga scientists and doctors yung tungkol sa microparticles ng breath ng tao kahit siya ay nagsasalita. So, using nga yung infrared, these high-tech devices, na-detect po nila na even when a person is speaking, meron po mga microparticles. Kahit hindi siya umubo, kahit hindi siya nag-hatching, merong nagsasalita lamang, may microparticles. Pero hindi pa po conclusive yan. Nabanggit lang po ni Pangulo na isa ito sa mga pinag-aaralan. But there is still no conclusive findings or statement for the DOH or the WHO for that matter. Kaya nga po, isa rin yun sa mga napag-usapan namin sa IATF kung saan napag-desisyonan na po na magsuot ng mask, any form of mask, para may additional protection lang ang ilong at bibig. From Henry Uri, DZRH, Sir, good day po, sinabi ng Pangulo kagabi, natutulungan din ng gobyerno ang mga middle income earners. May napag-usapan na po ba ang ITF tungkol dito? Anong tulong bibigay at paano ang implementasyon nito? Gaya ng sinabi ko po, ay inatasan ni Pangulo ang isang grupo made up primarily of our economic managers, no, to study this proposal. Pero dahil yung JMC ng social amelioration ay napirmahan na, hindi po natin pwede gamitin yung JMC na yun. Kasi that's particularly social amelioration package, nakalagay doon lahat ng mga qualified beneficiary. So, kailangan pag-aralan pa anong programa at saan pondo kukunin po yan. Yun. So, from Francis Wakefield, Daily Tribune, sabi ni Sec Galvez, the Luzon-wide enhanced community quarantine has largely contributed in slowing down and preventing the spread of COVID-19. Totoo po yan. May trend nga ba ng pagbaba at may datos po to support this? Pero sa address ni Pangulo kagabi, government is still inclined to extend ECQ for 2 weeks. Ito rin ba ang maging suggestion ng IATF kay Pangulo? Yes, we made that recommendation. Yes, the President has decided to extend the ECQ up to 11:59 p.m. of April 30. Yung trend, syempre may mga tinitingnan tayong numbers. Pero sinasabi ng lahat ng eksperto, masyado pang maaga. Kasi tulad ng sinabi ko, ang tinitingnan mo dyan, March 29, makita mo yung initial effects ng ECQ. Mid-April natin makikita yung most likely effects ng ECQ. So, kaya pa ulit-ulit namin sinasabi, masyado pang maaga. Second question, can we also kindly get a breakdown of the 200 billion peso disbursement if it has already been given out, or point us the right direction, DBM or NTF? Actually, dapat kasama ito sa report of the President to Congress, no? So, siguro by tomorrow, makakabigay po kami ng kumbaga highlights, no, ng President's report to Congress. But it's already been submitted to Congress. So obviously yung 200 billion ay hindi pa po fully disbursed, no? So nakita ko I browsed through the report and hindi pa fully disbursed yung 200 billion. In fact, only 100 billion has been released to DSWD so far. And dun sa 100 billion, hindi pa yan fully disbursed. Yun yung hopefully by this week, but obviously yung challenge natin is magma-Monday, Thursday at Good Friday na po, na dapat mailabas na po yung 100 billion na yan at pamahagi na dun para sa social amelioration. The President last night said that the fund earmarked for 2 weeks would soon be depleted. Ito rin ba ang nakikita ng IATF? Yung 100 billion, yes, in 2 weeks, that should already have been spent or distributed, no? But yung 100 billion na remaining, that is for another month, no? Kasi yung 200 billion, that's good for 2 months worth, di ba? So itong unang 100 billion, kaya 100 billion muna ang nirelease because that's for the first month. Kumbaga, that's the first month worth of social amelioration. Pero may second pa na coming na dapat na social amelioration if need be or if needed, given kung magka-extension nga tayo or kailangan natin tulungan yung mga mahirap natin mga kababayan. From Heidi Sampang, DZAS, matapos ihayag ni PRRD na sang-ayon siya sa apela ni Governor John Vic Remulla na bigyan din ng ayuda ang nasa middle class. Yes, seryoso bang kinokonsidera ng IATF ang bagay nito na binigay muna sa economic managers? So, they will submit, they will study, make a proposal, then present to IATF. Pero wala pa po yan. Pinag-aaralan na po ba ito? May pagkukunan ba ng pondo? Kung sakasakali. Kaya nga po, inassign sa economic managers. From Celerina Monte, Manila Shimbun. PRD said last night the administration is exploring options to adjust the budget. One is bawasan ang budget ng ilang projects. Another is totally ilaglag yung ibang projects para unahin ang tiyan ng tao. Apparently, yung projects na na-refer ni PRD may budget allotment already. So what are these projects? What will be dropped in order to fund the government's COVID-19 response programs? Nasa batas po yan. Nasa Bayanihan to Heal Us Act. To Heal Us One Act. Nandiyan po yan. So that's well within the powers of the President. Ano po? So wala pa po tayo sa point na yan. Although siguro ang sinasabi lang ni Pangulo is if kinakailangan talaga at mahaba pa itong laban na ito or we need more funds at we need to fund more of these proposed programs or recommendations, then we'll have to source it from some items in the budget. Pero wala pa po tayo dyan. Jen Kabiling, Manila Bulletin. Please elaborate on the government's guidelines and goals of mass testing. How will COVID testing be implemented? How many people will be tested? Unahin po natin yung mga nangangailangan. So, I guess, kailangan klaruhin natin ito. Pag sinabi pong increase yung testing or mass testing, at sinabi na rin ito ni Secretary Galvez, Secretary Duque, Yusek Vergere, DOH, pag sinabi po natin mass testing, hindi po ibig sabihin anybody can test. Ha? Pag sinabing mass testing, ite-test yung kinakailangang i-test. Sino yung kinakailangan i-test? Number 1, nasa yung aking notes. Number 1, yung severe symptoms with travel and history of travel and or contact. Yung may mild symptoms and vulnerable with history of travel and or contact with the COVID-19 patient. yung mga mild but not vulnerable na may history of travel and history of contact with the COVID-19. And yung asymptomatic but with history of travel and history of contact with a COVID-19. Bakit ganun yung aking pag-pronounce na mga yun? Because yun ang order of priority. So, if you see, yung last order of priority ko is yung no symptoms but with history of travel and or contact ng COVID-19. At the end of the day po, kailangan may reason ka for testing. Hindi yung basta-basta ka lang nag-test dahil trip mo. Right? So, yun. Kaya, who has history of contact with COVID-19? Frontliners po natin. Sila yung, syempre, priority, di ba? Health workers, frontliners. So, ibig sabihin ang bottom line, nag-travel ka ba? May contact ka ba with the COVID-19? Ito yung ating priority for testing. So, when you say mass testing, let's also still have that discipline. Now, let's reserve the testing for those who need it. Di ba? Symptomatic, obviously, yes, but even those asymptomatic, yung kolektiba natin dyan, kailangan meron kang history of travel or may contact ka with a COVID-19 patient. Kasi kung nakatago ka naman din sa bahay at hindi ka naman lumalabas, wala ka namang contact with the COVID-19, ba't ka pa magpapatest at wala ka pang symptoms, di ba? So, that's just want to emphasize that because we don't want people now saying, oh, gusto ko magpa-test, gusto natin magpa-test. Then you will be overwhelming again our laboratories. Di ba? Because ang game plan natin is not to overwhelm our healthcare facilities. Di ba? So, that includes now the laboratories because at this point, yung laboratories natin is also one of our more important assets. Nasaan na tayo? Okay. Ito na. Additional announcement. Dagdag impormasyon lamang po. May financial assistance na po para sa LGUs upang mabigyan sila ng tulong laban sa COVID-19 na ilalabas na ng Department of Budget and Management or DBM. Ito ang Bayanihan Grant to Cities and Municipalities. This will be equivalent to 1 month of LGU's internal revenue allotment totaling 30.824 billion pesos. Sa ating pong mga tagapangasiwa sa lokal na pamahalaan, salamat po sa inyong pakikipagtuwang sa national government. Tunay nga po kayo ay kabalikat ng bayan sa labang ito. Sa ating mga kababayan, maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikipagtulungan sa inyong pamahalaan. Before ko tapusin to, siguro isa na lamang po. Yung dito sa Social Amelioration Program, syempre yung mga LGUs, tiyak po ng DSWD at ng mga national agencies para tulungan po tayo sa pag-distribute ng ating mga social amelioration para sa ating mga kababayan na nahihirapan na at naghihirap. Ngayon, may mga LGUs na binigyan na po sila, number 1, binigyan na sila ng kanilang, kumbaga, number 1, may mga LGUs na pumirma na po ng MOA. Yung Memorandum of Agreement, pinipirmahan po yan para, siyempre, kayo mag-assist sa DSWD. So, may Memorandum of Agreement po tayo na kayo ang mag-assist sa national government. No? So, nakalagay sa MOA, spelled very specifically kung ano yung mga do's and don'ts, ano yung obligasyon ng mga LGUs, etc. etc. So number 1, kailangan niyo pong pumirma ng MOA. Number 2, kailangan meron kayong isasubmit, di ba? Alam niyo na yon kung ano yung isasubmit ninyo, no? Hindi ko na kailangan banggitin dito kasi na-brief na kayo ng DSWD. So kung ano kailangan yung isubmit sa DSWD, pakisubmit na po, kasama po yung MOA. Para sa ganun, maumpisa na po natin. Ngayon, may mga LGUs kasi na nag-aalala, nasabi nila, itong bibigay nyo na social amelioration, hindi ito namin mapapaabot sa lahat ng gusto natin mapaabot. Kasi ang sinasabi ng iba na, hindi, pasok naman yung iba dito sa ating pasok naman yung iba dito sa mga list of qualifications ng mga beneficiaries. So, meron ilang mga pamilya dyan na gusto ko sanang isama pero hindi ko maisama for whatever reason. In other words, gusto po nila ng dagdag, karagdagan. Pamilyang gusto po nilang bigyan. So, ang nais lang po namin sabihin sa inyo, meron po tayong appeals system and mechanism. Okay? We have an appeals system in place na you can refer to or you can go to appeal to the DSWD and the national government kung meron pang mga sa palagay ninyo hindi na isama na kailangan isama dahil sila naman po ay qualified. Pero wag na po nating i-delay ang pamamahagi po ng ating social amelioration. In other words, don't let that be the cause of delay. Diba? Ibigay na po natin yung tulong. Ngayon, kung may mga hindi na pagbigyan, then that's the time that you go into the appeal system. And then titingnan po natin kung yung ibibigay nyo ba, na ina-appeal nyo ba, ay pasok o hindi. Without guarantees. Kasi syempre, i-check pa natin yan sa database, i-check pa natin yan kung nagdoble na or sobra na, kung kasama ba sila sa 4Ps, kung kasama ba sila sa DA, Department of Agriculture, kasi may programa din ng Department of Agriculture para sa farmers and fisher folk, ha? Kung kasama ba sila sa DOLE, sa mga formal workers. Siyempre, i-vet pa namin yan at ibabangga pa namin yan dun sa database na hawak po ng national government. Kaya sinasabi ko, no promises. Pero, ang bottom line is, bigyan na natin. Bigyan nyo na yung MOA, bigyan nyo na lahat ng mga requirements para po mabigay na natin ang tulong sa inyong mga constituents. Based doon sa napag-usapan with DSWD. Kung meron po kayong gustong i-appeal sa DSWD, huwag po kayong pumunta sa Facebook or sa Twitter or sa social media or sa FaceTime or sa kung saan-saan kasi hindi makakarating yan at hindi po yan yung proseso. May appeal system po tayo. May mekanismo po tayo. Yun ang gamitin natin. But in the meantime, let's do this. Bigay na po natin. Mga kababayan, nasabi na namin ito kahapon at ulitin po natin. Kayo po ang first line of defense sa gyerang ito. Bahay muna, buhay muna. At sa ating mga kasama, sa pagpapalaganap ng tama at napapanahong impormasyon sa iba't ibang mga media outlets sa TV, radyo, dyaryo at online, na kung saan naka-hook up po kami ngayon. Maraming salamat po. Magandang umaga po muli, and may God bless and protect each and every one of us. Hiningi po namin muli sa inyo ang inyong kooperasyon, ang ating pagkakaisa, ang ating pagtutulungan, lalong-lalo na po ngayon na i-extend po natin ang Enhanced Community Quarantine. Panghuli na lamang po, ngayong panahon ito, siguro ito yung tamang panahon na kung saan tayo dapat ay magbayanihan. Yung DILG po ay gumagawa ng mga hakbang kung saan mapagbigyan ng oportunidad at paraan ang ating mga kababayan na gustong tumulong sa mga mahihirap nating mga kababayan sa pamamagitan ng paggamit natin ng mga mekanismo sa LGU o di kaya dun sa barangay. So, pina-finalize na lamang po ng DILG. Ang ibig po sabihin yan, kung meron pong gustong mag-donate at tumulong sa mga kapwa nating Pilipino, mga kababayan natin mula sa iba't ibang mga barangay, ay sana po mag-donate kayo at tulungan po natin yung mga kababayan nating mga nahihirapan na. Nandiyan naman ang ayuda ng gobyerno, nandiyan naman ang tulong ng gobyerno. Pero siguro ngayong panahon na ito, kung may pagkakataon na matulungan po natin ang ating kapitbahay o yung kalapit-bahay po natin mula sa ibang barangay, tayo na po, gawa na lang po tayo ng sarili nating paraan. Sama-sama tayo, mga kaibigan natin, mga barkada natin, mga kasamahan natin sa opisina. At itong extended enhanced community quarantine na ito, na kung saan marami po sa ating mga kababayan na nangangailangan, hanap tayo ng paraan kung saan makakatulong tayo sa kanila. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga po muli.
You're watching the EBC International coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Anna Kui, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight, we will hear from several of our correspondents across North America. Here are the headlines. Canadians begin applying for financial help from the federal government. Thomas Likeness reports in Edmonton. The city of Calgary remains in a state of local emergency. JC Umol in Alberta, Canada. COVID-19 in Virginia peaks in 2 weeks, a month earlier than originally predicted. Sarah Nachman in Virginia Beach. Coastal Georgia communities feel the pressure from the government's order to reopen beaches. We'll have calling night in Brunswick, Georgia. The District of Columbia is set to vote on a major coronavirus relief package. Ken Cruz in Fort Washington, Maryland. Pennsylvania State has the second largest unemployment claims next to California. Myla Simbulan in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. We'll have Eric Skillman from Los Angeles, where Mayor Eric Garcetti advised the use of face coverings. Governor Newsom of California announces alternative care sites across the state. Macy Membrera in Sacramento, California. In Texas, a Dallas hotel offers free rooms to healthcare workers. We'll have Benita Manauas standing by. Plus, a live interview with a public health professional in Orange County, California, who will explain to us what COVID-19 might mean for people who smoke. And join Michael Hudson for today's Run Workout. First, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 1,300,000. This includes more than 356,000 in the US and more than 16,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 73,000 lives. On the bright side, nearly 276,000 people are recovering from the infection. Our coverage begins tonight with Canadians begin applying for financial help from the federal government. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton with the story. Thomas? Thomas, I believe we're having a bit of a technical, so we'll come back to Thomas. The city of Calgary remains in a state of local emergency. JC Umol in Alberta, Canada for the details.
Hello, Anna. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone watching and listening and streaming Eagle News. As we continue to face the COVID-19 pandemic here in Canada, here in Calgary, a city within Alberta, a province within Canada, we have a total of 774 confirmed cases and a total of 14 deaths. The city of Calgary remains in a state of a local emergency to an effort to support and combat what is happening on the spread of the COVID-19. Self-isolation is still a mandatory effort to all Canadians returning from travel. During this time also, Calgary Transit, Calgary bus and train will be limiting their seating and standing areas on their buses. They will promote social distancing by placing signages to let the customer know which seats are to be left vacant. And if ever the bus reaches its capacity, it will not make further stops to collect passengers. Also here in the city of Calgary, the government would like to remind everyone on the safe elevator etiquette. One is face the wall, limit the number of people to 3, wait for the next elevator to avoid overcrowding, avoid touching your face after pressing the elevator buttons, and wash and sanitize your hands after leaving. City-owned skate parks and playgrounds remain closed. The city placed temporary fencing, signages, and also to aid them on physical distancing. The city events have also been canceled until April 30. Groceries, supermarkets also help the government by enforcing social distancing. They help in sanitizing their stores. You will see that before you can enter an establishment, you need to do a lineup. After you do a lineup, as you wait, they're trying to limit the number of shoppers. The staff will sanitize the cart that you are using, and they will going to make sure and enforce that social distancing will be enforced inside their shops or their groceries or supermarkets. They're doing it to enforce and to enforce safety, not for the shoppers but also for their employees. On the lighter side, here in Calgary, there is a local business. It's called Friday Sock Company, which find a creative way to help out a local food bank here in Calgary. So it's called Men's Food Bank Coronavirus Socks. It's a 100%. The 100% profit of the socks will go to the food bank. So these socks have been designed of a tissue paper roll and a hand sanitizer as their part. As per their website said, 100% of the profit will go to the Canadian Food Bank or Calgary Food Bank here in Calgary. So from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, this is JC Umol, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, JC. Thank you so much for that report. We're going to go ahead and go back to Thomas in Edmonton, where Canadians begin applying for financial help from the federal government. Thomas.
Hi, Anna. I hope all is well with you there. I got to get a pair of those socks. I'm going to see if I can get those online right after I finish my report here. But it was a couple of weeks ago that our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced that people who lost their jobs due to COVID-19, those who had to isolate because of the infection, and those who had to care for somebody who was infected, they would be eligible for up to $2,000 a month for up to 4 months. Well, today the government finally launched the website for the applications. Now, to control the number of people logging on because they didn't want it to crash, eligible applicants are determined by their month of birth. Today, for example, it was people born in January, February, and March who could apply. Tomorrow, it will be those with birthdays in April, May, and June, and so on. So that's how that's working out right now. Now, Trudeau also talked about those who are still working, but they're making less than if they got laid off and got the emergency compensation. He said the government will tweak the system a bit to come up with some kind of help so that these folks can keep working, but at the same time have a minimum of that $2,000 a month. Other financial news in Canada, at his daily briefing, Trudeau said several Canadian banks are cutting the interest rate on credit cards by about half. Well, it's still pretty high. It's 11%, but certainly better than 22%. We here at Eagle News are pretty much working from home. I think you can see that from all of our live reports, because that's the best way to stay safe. Well, Canadian lawmakers are thinking of doing the same thing. All of the political parties are trying to come up with a way that our parliament could meet online to pass emergency legislation, and they're hoping to have some details about that over the next several days. Let's take a look at the numbers now. Across Canada quickly, about 16,500 cases. They're increasing at the rate of about 1,000 a day. There's been 323 deaths. In my province of Alberta, I think the most concerning number we have is the increasing number of cases as a result of community transmission. And that's again why we're almost in a state of lockdown here. That's why we want to keep the social distancing, stay home, don't travel. I know it's a long weekend coming up. You want to be with family and so on. There's a way to do that. It's called video conferencing. Do it by a virtual visit, but you can't share your meal or anything. You'll just have to watch each other, I guess, eat your meal. But that's the concerning number, according to our Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Dina Hinshaw. She says 204 of our cases are now believed to be the result of community transmission. That grew by 52 over the last 24 hours. Well, you know, one group of workers that's been hard hit by this pandemic is car salesmen. I mean, who's going to the showroom to buy a car these days? And do you want to test? How are you going to do a test drive? You can't social distance in a car. So what are some car salesmen doing? Well, honk your horn for the Wolf Automotive Group. This company's dealerships, they've got them in Edmonton, Calgary, and Canmore. They've set up a delivery service free of charge. They'll take groceries and other essentials to seniors and other shut-ins. They're working with a number of stores in these communities. And you know how clean car dealerships keep their vehicles. The company says its vehicles are constantly sanitized, so there's no worries of contamination there. Well, you know, I love a happy ending, and that's my cue to get out of here. I wish you all good health. Take care of others and take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Thomas. Those are some good news you shared with us about the government providing some financial assistance to the residents of Canada. You mentioned about, that they're more organized about it than here in the U.S., that stimulus package, the relief fund that we heard about. They're doing it by last name, you mentioned, so that's good. How is the government? Yes.
I was saying actually they're doing it by birthday if you were born in January, February, and March, that sort of thing. But it is actually really impressive, and I'm not a big fan of government programs because they generally government is slow. It's like the wheels of justice are slow as well. But they pulled this off. They put this together in a couple of weeks, and it seems to be working.
That's a really good idea. Hopefully other will follow suit. So how are the government computers working for this compensation program?
Well, the system seems to be holding up. Trudeau told his daily briefing this morning that in the first several hours, nearly 250,000 people had successfully applied. And like I said, considering the short time the government had to put it together, the software, the website, everything seems to be stable.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, what about, I'm wondering about the people who don't have access to computer. I mean, as hard as that may be to believe nowadays, but are there options for those?
Yeah, there is. There is a telephone line, but you know what phone lines are like. You're going to be on hold for hours, and it's always that lovely music and the announcements they make. I don't know. I think I'd go out and get a computer.
Well, thank you so much, Thomas. We'll hope to speak to you again soon.
Okay. Take care.
Take care. COVID-19 in Virginia peaks in 2 weeks, a month earlier than originally predicted. Sarah Nachman in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Sarah?
Hello, Anna. It's great to be here. Yes, Governor Ralph Northam continues preparation for the peak of coronavirus in Virginia as one model predicts it on April 22nd with 59 deaths per day projection. This was based on the model by the Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation by University of Washington Medicine. Originally, the model predicted that the peak will not occur until late in May. But just a note that there are several models out there, but this particular model projected last Friday that the peak in Virginia will be in late May. But today's update projected the peak will be April 22nd, about 2 weeks from now. So that's what we can expect. That's when we can expect the resources, such as the hospital bed, the PPE, ventilators, to reach their peak usage. During this peak, the IHME predicts 59 deaths daily, as I had mentioned earlier. Currently, Virginia has 2,878 cases, with 497 hospitalized and 54 deaths. Northam stresses that they requested PPE from the national stockpile, but received only a fraction from their request. So the Virginia governor took it upon himself and his administration. What they did is they order ahead PPE from Asia, and they're expecting a shipment of PPE from Asia soon. The governor also approved converting 3 alternative care facilities to lessen the stress from hospitals when the surge of coronavirus patients starts. These sites are Dulles Expo Center in Northern Virginia, Hampton Roads Convention Center, and Richmond Convention Center. These facilities will add 1,107 acute beds and 1,878 non-acute beds. In Virginia Beach, Sarah Nachman, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Sarah. So it's really good that now we have the capability, to project the peak when that will happen. I think because of that, governments, the local governments, are being able to prepare more to,
Yes.
To accommodate that. How have you observed the stay-at-home mandate there in your area? Are
Well,
people,
just to give you a comprehensive report about the governor and the state of Virginia, we have a governor that has 30 years of medical background. And on March 16, he closed Virginia K through 12 schools for the rest of the school year. Then on March 30th, the Virginia governor declared stay-at-home mandate until June 10th. And he also said non-essential services are closed, but if those businesses, if they can comply with social distancing, 10 people maximum, and continues disinfecting throughout the day, then those stores can open. However, there's a catch. Businesses that does not allow social distancing, like spas, barbershops, and entertainment facilities such as movie theaters and bowling, they were shut down. They have to remain closed. And just one more note for students, because the school closed, a lot of students they have food insecurities. They are being served daily on certain sites in Virginia. Even our food banks are by those who are in need. And also the governor, he sees the importance of exercise. He's allowing parks and trails and beaches to be open only for a form of exercise if you maintain social distancing and 10 people or minimum per group. And that's what's happening in Virginia.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your report. And earlier we were talking, and you mentioned you have one of the biggest U.S. military bases there. How has the military been an influence to what's happening around there?
Well, we have to mention that the USS Comfort, the Navy hospital ship that was sent to New York, is based here in Norfolk. So that ship, the hospital ship, was sent to Norfolk along with the Navy staff, the medical staff from this area. So that alone is a big contribution from this area. We have the largest Navy facility in the world based here in Hampton Roads as well. So we get a lot of assistance, and we work together with the Navy to make sure that everything is done. Everything is done here in this area to make sure that the curve is flattened. Is what they're trying to do is flatten the curve to make sure that it doesn't go out of control, because we do not have enough ventilators. As it is, 25% of Virginia's ventilators are being used, and we have not yet reached the peak.
Well, hoping for the best for you there. Sarah, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Mayor Shirley Sessions on Tybee Island says no to beaches reopening, calling night in Brunswick, Georgia. Reports.
Hi, Anna. So first, let's do an update on the numbers. Unfortunately, the numbers have jumped by nearly double since the last time I updated. So the numbers now in Georgia are 7,558 ill and 294 fatalities at this point. In response to this, the Georgia governor has put in place a shelter-in-place order beginning on April 3rd at 6 p.m. and to continue until only April 13th. This included closing the schools for the rest of the semester, requiring social distancing in all situations. All businesses and any gatherings must be no more than 10 people, and all people must maintain a 6-foot distance from each other. Everyone must remain home, if at all possible, only to leave for essential services or necessary travel if you are an essential employee, or to obtain supplies or to obtain health or safety. You can enjoy outdoor activities, but you must remain 6 feet away from anybody who is not somebody that you live with. So you are allowed to be closer to people that you already live with. You're not allowed to have any visitors. This includes homes and facilities, so including hospitals. This does have an exception in the case of end-of-life circumstances, so they do allow it in those cases. All non-essential businesses have been closed, including bowling alleys, theaters, entertainment venues, things of that sort. All restaurants are now dine-in only, but as dine-in, they must still remain 6 feet away from each other and maintain social distancing. All businesses must enact extreme procedures, I should say, to limit exposure to their employees. So they have to do staggered shifts, closely monitor workers for symptoms, prohibit work if the worker seems to be ill, prohibit any handshaking, place hygiene notices around the place of work, and also suspend the use of any touch devices. So if you have to press a PIN number to get into a room or use an iPad device, those are no longer allowed. Georgia officials now have the power to close any non-compliant businesses who are not following this executive order. Interestingly enough, there is a clause within the order that states that the order cannot limit or suspend the sale or transport of firearms in the state of Georgia. The consequence for not following this order is a misdemeanor, which in the state of Georgia means 12 months in jail or up to a $1,000 fine. There's a lot of contention, however, in the coastal area because this order basically cancels out and voids all other orders and mandates done at the local level. Glynn County in this area is part of coastal Georgia, and many areas of coastal Georgia, their mayors and local commissions had already shut down beaches to prevent spring break goers from coming to the area. They also suspended all short-term rentals to make sure that vacationers didn't try to come to the beach areas. Well, with this new order that has gone into effect by Governor Kemp, that actually undoes all that. So now the beaches have opened as of last weekend, and also vacation rentals are now once again open for booking. So this has caused a lot of contention in the area. Mayor Shirley Sessions, as you mentioned earlier, is the mayor of Tybee Island. Tybee Island is a beach near Savannah, Georgia. She released an official statement that said this: as the Pentagon ordered 100,000 body bags to store the corpses of Americans killed by the coronavirus, Governor Brian Kemp dictated that Georgia beaches must reopen and declared any decision makers who refused to follow these orders would face prison and/or fines. She went on to say later, additionally, in spite of serious health situations facing our community and the world, Governor Kemp has rescinded all restrictions put in place by local municipalities since March 1st. She went on to also state that she is very devastated by the directive and does not agree with the new mandate. That being said, while beaches are open for Tybee Island, there will be no beach access by walking. There are 5 drive-up areas. Parking lots will remain closed because they cannot staff the parking lots. Also, there will not be any lifeguards because they cannot staff the lifeguards as well. In response, a tweet made by Governor Kemp today said that most people over the weekend had complied and that the beaches were not as populated as they usually are. And then he also went on to commend a local restaurant on St. Simon's Island, Halyard's Restaurant, for feeding patrol officers who were making sure that everybody was following the new mandate. In fact, interestingly enough, Halyard's was one of the first restaurants to actually move to to-go long before any of the mandates had been put into place. So they foresaw what was coming and went ahead and decided to protect both their employees and their customers by going to curbside pickup only on March 16th, back when the White House had originally made those guidelines. In Brunswick, Georgia, Colleen Knight, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Colleen. You mentioned how are the residents reacting to this, conflicting mandates, happening there? That must be difficult.
Well, they're very much aware that we can't go against what the governor says because the governor's mandate definitely overrides anything that we can do locally. That being said, there really is a mixed reaction. Some are happy that they can now go to the beach and exercise. Many of them were missing being able to enjoy the beautiful, peaceful beaches. They find it as a way to kind of relieve the anxiety of the fear that they're feeling. But then there were others who were deeply concerned about drawing people closer to our area. So as many may know, spring break is actually near, and while schools are out and most people are online, if the students are on spring break, then they will not have any coursework to take care of. And so there are actually a lot of people in the Atlanta area that own homes in this area, and the residents around here are afraid that that's going to draw those people to their second homes here and increase the population here. And as many know, Atlanta is actually a pretty big hotbed for the illness itself, so there is a distinct possibility of bringing even more illness here. In the Glynn County, or in the coastal area alone, we already have 192 cases, and there have already been 6 deaths. In Savannah alone, there have been 3 deaths and 104 cases. So we might see that climb if people begin to come to the beaches for spring break.
Well, I guess we'll do our part and just, reminding everyone to do our best to stay at home to mitigate that spread in your area. Thank you for that report, Colleen. We'll talk to you again soon. The District of Columbia is set to vote on the major coronavirus relief package. We have Ken Cruz in Fort Washington, Maryland. Ken?
Hey, Anna. The Washington, D.C. Council is set to vote on a major coronavirus relief package tomorrow. This bill extends Mayor Muriel Bowser's authority to declare a health emergency through mid-June. Some highlights for the bill are: 1, a citywide rent freeze, which blocks any rent increases during the health emergency. 2, mortgage relief. Individuals or businesses that can prove reduced income related to COVID-19 will receive 90-day deferrals from their mortgage companies. 3, provides $25 million in grants to hospitals to prepare for the medical surge, which in models shows for DC will be peaking in late June or early July. Number 4, expand sick leave. This one's extremely important for employees. This would require businesses with between 50 and 500 employees to provide up to 2 weeks of safe and sick leave. And number 5, aims to reduce the jail population. This would allow them to change sentencing rules, which would expand credits for good behavior and provides for more inmates to be released on compassionate grounds. As far as the most recent regional numbers, in the last 24 hours, there have been 436 new confirmed COVID cases in Maryland, bringing the state total to 4,046 with 91 deaths. For Washington, D.C., there are now 1,101 cases and 24 deaths. In Maryland, more coronavirus testing sites will actually be opening up tomorrow at vehicle emissions inspection program locations. However, the Maryland Department of Health said test kit supplies are limited and the testing is done in an appointment base only. And finally, Vice President Pence announced today that 250 of the ventilators that were loaned by California to the national stockpile will be going to Maryland and D.C. That's a huge help for our area. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Ken Cruz, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Ken. So that request for the emergency is just a request right now, is that correct? It has not been approved yet?
That's correct. The voting will be done tomorrow.
So hopefully that will be approved. So that
it'll be a huge help to DC, especially with the models that we're looking at. It'll help in the funding of that medical surge. Even with the Maryland model, the scenarios for Maryland, peak in hospital use are for the state could come in all the way in late April. The Washington model actually projects Maryland would have anywhere from 388 to 4,447 deaths. But the actual model is estimating about 1,766 deaths from Maryland by August the 4th. I mean, anything over 1 is huge, but I mean, when you're thinking about that range from 338 to 4,000, 1,766 is a little on the lighter side. And then at its peak, the model predicts Maryland will need about 5,478 beds, which is why last week Governor Hogan actually announced that we need 6,000 beds. So that's in preparation for that peak for Maryland as far as the hospital beds.
Well, again, just like with Sarah, it's good to know that the projection of when the numbers will peak helps the local government to prepare more. So
Absolutely.
We'll look forward to more of your updates, Ken. Thank you so much. Pennsylvania State has the second largest unemployment claims next to California. Myla Simbulan in Swarthmore with more. Myla?
Hi, Anna, and hello to all those who are watching. COVID-19 left thousands jobless in Pennsylvania, which is now the second largest state with unemployment claims. Second to California, with about 879,000, and more than the jobless claims in New York with 366,000, which is the hardest hit in the East Coast. Based on the latest news released last Thursday, March 28th, of the U.S. Department of Labor, there were additional 406,000 claims from last week, in addition to 377,000 the week prior, which now has a total of 783,000 over the past 2 weeks. This is 12% of its workforce. Comparing to last February of this year, it was only 4.7%. So that's really a big jump. Nationwide, unemployment claims soared to 6.6 million for the week ending March 28. COVID-19 cases continues to rise here in Pennsylvania, which is now at least 13,000 with 190 deaths. So before I end my report, I just want to show you some picture, Anna, of my neighborhood. I'm so glad that people follow social distancing. In the store where I go to, you can only enter when someone leaves in order to limit the number of people inside. Store employees also sanitize your basket or carts upon entering. This last picture is my favorite, which is my neighbor's front yard on the way to the store, because it really puts a smile on your face every time I pass by it. It's the first time I saw it, I was really scared because I'm going outside, I'll be exposed. But then I read the message outside the front yard, and it gave me that energy. Okay, it's okay. I'm gonna get through this. So it's really nice, especially in my neighborhood, how people are putting together and working hard to follow all the rules. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Mila Simbulan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Myla, for sharing that. You know, it is really important right now to continue to encourage one another, right? And one of the positive things that we see out of this, what's happening is, you know, the stores seem to be more organized, and they seem to be cleaning more. So hopefully after this is all done, we'll get to keep some of those good habits. So
Yes,
thank you so much. Thank you so much for your report,
Thanks for
Myla.
having me.
Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti and the CDC strongly advise everyone to wear facial cloth coverings in settings where social distancing measures are hard to maintain. We have Alec Skillman from North Hollywood. Alec?
Thank you, Anna. As of today, the Los Angeles Public Health Department announced that the number of COVID-19 cases has increased in the Los Angeles County to 5,940 confirmed cases and 132 deaths. With the rapid increasing of numbers of cases, the Los Angeles Mayor, Eric Garcetti, and the CDC are strongly advising everyone to wear cloth face coverings in settings where social distancing are hard to maintain, namely grocery stores and pharmacies. One may ask, what's considered a cloth face covering? A scarf, a bandana? We can even make our own at home using fabric everyday household supplies. With the depleting supply of surgical masks and N95 masks, we should definitely save those hard-to-get supplies for the healthcare professionals. The U.S. Surgeon General released a quick how-to video how to make a face covering using a t-shirt and rubber bands. It is said to be very easy to make and efficient to use. With the CDC recent studies on the significant portion of individuals being asymptomatic and the ability for the virus to spread between others in close distance with one another, such as speaking, sneezing, and coughing, it's always better to be safe and prepared. In North Hollywood, California, I am Alex Skillman, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks so much, Alec, for that report. And just a reminder, as we've heard in our previous reports, in using cloth facial coverings, we can actually add protection by inserting a tissue paper or a coffee filter for added protection. Governor Newsom of California announces alternative care sites across the state. Macy Membrera in Sacramento reports. Macy?
Hi, Anna, and thank you. So today at a press conference in Sacramento, California, Governor Gavin Newsom outlined California's response for the anticipated surge of COVID-19 patients. Phase 1 of this plan is to add 50,000 beds to the existing hospital capacity of nearly 75,000 beds. And the next part of Phase 1 is to also establish alternative care sites to relieve pressure on the healthcare system. Here is a clip of Governor Newsom with more details.
This is one of the sites of the 20,000 sites that the state of California has procured. And as you can see behind me, quite literally is being brought into a condition where we can start accepting patients as early as April 20th. We're here in the Sacramento region, the Sleep Train Arena, where the Sacramento Kings once played. This is a site that will provide for 400 beds.
Now, again, that Sleep Train Arena is just one of several alternative care sites. And these alternate sites are specifically for patients with mild to moderate symptoms and patients being discharged from the hospital. However, those who are requiring more acute care will continue to be seen in the hospital system. Now, just an update on some statistics within the Sacramento County. There are 462 confirmed cases now and 18 fatalities, where overall in California, there are 14,336 confirmed cases and 343 total deaths, according to the Department of Public Health. Now, due to the growing number of those affected by COVID-19, another part of California's response is not only to help Californians, but also to help other states in immediate need of supplies. So as a result, Governor Newsom also announced that 500 state-owned ventilators will be loaned to the Strategic National Stockpile Inventory for those other states who might need immediate supplies if they have some shortages. In Sacramento, California, Macy Membrari, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Macy. I'm assuming New York is probably one of those who are being loaned those ventilators, because they're
yes, definitely. I would hope so.
Yes, because they're the epicenter of the U.S. How are things for you and your family at home and your immediate surroundings there? Can you give us a picture of how things are?
Yes, in our immediate surroundings, in our community itself, the community that we live in is actually pretty tight-knit. We have a Facebook group where they just mention things that are happening within the community. I think in one broadcast I mentioned before, a social distancing block party. Our community was one that tried to hold one so that people can go out within their driveways, speak to your neighbors across the way, maybe have a meal and just share a drink, but at a distance, kind of thing. Also, we've had the bear hunts that have been going around for children to engage in different activities outside of their home. But with the stay-at-home order in our areas of Sacramento and California in general, we still see many people congregating within like grocery stores. It's some grocery stores are not limiting the amount of people that are going inside, and you can still see it seems just like a regular day. So that's concerning. But other places we've seen that they are following the social distancing rule. They're even marking it on the floors where people can stand. And so I think it just differs depending on the places here within our area.
Well, thank you, Macy. Hope you and your family stay well.
Yes, thank you. You too.
Take care. And we go to Texas, where a Dallas hotel offers free room to healthcare workers. Nanita Manawis from Dallas, Texas. Nanita?
Thank you, Anna. And just as before, I would be giving you the latest statistics from Texas. The Texas Department of State Health Services reports a total of 7,276 confirmed cases as of today, out of which 140 fatalities in the state has also been reported. And here in the Dallas County, health officials just announced 43 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total of 1,155 for Dallas County. In Austin, a cluster of students from the University of Texas who had returned from a spring break trip in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, have resulted in 49 confirmed cases for the coronavirus. On the university website, officials stated that Mexico was not under federal travel advisory at that time, and the students were urged to make sure that they take extra caution during their spring break. In a video message to the University of Texas students, Dr. Terrence Hines, Chief Medical Officer of University Health Services, emphasized the importance of everyone following public health guidelines and practicing social distancing. And in Dallas, Texas, the Statler Hotel is offering free lodging for healthcare workers. According to the hotel's Facebook site, the Statler is allocating 2 floors of its guest rooms to healthcare professionals serving on the front lines of the COVID-19 pandemic. They will also receive a boxed breakfast, lunch, and dinner meal as a way to alleviate stress and show appreciation for the sacrifices medical workers make every day for the community. And here in Dallas, from my own personal experience with my recent trips to some grocery stores, I was very impressed by the positivity and organization of the staff and management of those grocery stores. But most importantly, it is good to see how customers are cooperating when it comes to social distancing. From Dallas, Texas, I'm Anita Manawes. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you so much, Nanita. You mentioned it. Positivity is really what we need nowadays, and it's good to hear those stories, about caring for our frontliners. I'm sure that that's it's a welcome that that they're being given free meals and free places to rest in between their shifts. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Anna.
Coming up, a health professional in Orange County, California, with a warning to people who smoke and their families, as well as advice on steps they can take to lower the risk during the COVID-19 pandemic. ABC International coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic will return in a moment. Stay with us.
Alamin ang tamang paraan ng pag-ubo upang mapigilan ang paglaganap ng Coronavirus Disease 2019. Ugaliing magdala ng panyo o tissue. Kung uubo o babahing, takpan ang buong ilong at bibig gamit ang panyo o tissue. Kung walang dalang panyo o tissue, maaaring gamitin ang braso na pantakip. Kung nakararamdam na kailangan umubo o bumahing, agad na dumistansya sa mga tao sa paligid. Huwag dumura kung saan-saan, gumamit ng tissue at itapon sa basurahan. Ugaliin ang paghuhugas ng kamay at paggamit ng alcohol o hand sanitizer upang mamatay ang mikrobyo. Basta't sama-sama at laging handa, kaya natin to! Isang paalala mula sa DOH, PCOO, KBP at ng himpilang ito.
Watch your favorite Net25 shows on OSN Channel 725, same day as the Philippines.
Several people have been confirmed dead following the spread of a new strain of coronavirus, which was first identified in Wuhan, central China.
Mga kababayan ko, do not panic.
You're watching the ABC International coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic, North America edition. I'm Anna Kui, coming to you from Las Vegas. We now know that COVID-19 attacks the lungs, but what does that mean for those who smoke? And is there something for people who smoke that they can do to lower the risk of this pandemic. Joining Eagle News this evening is Jana Palasigi, a manager from Orange County's 1866 New Law. Thank you for joining us, Jana.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for having me.
So now is the time for people who smoke to quit. That's the logo, right? The motto. What research has there been for between COVID and smoking that you know of?
Sure. So as we know, and you mentioned earlier, COVID-19 is a virus that attacks the lungs and causes respiratory disease. So there's been a lot of research on people and patients that have contracted COVID-19 and whether or not they have smoked. So there's been recent publications in the Chinese Medical Journal from February of this year that found that patients in China who smoked and contracted COVID-19 actually had 14 times more likely of a probability to receive or to get a severe symptom from COVID-19, including death, as opposed to people who do not smoke. And there are other research studies, including the one that has the largest sample of COVID patients. They actually sampled 1,099 patients who have COVID-19, and they found that people who smoke or vape are 2.4 times more likely to be admitted into an ICU and have severe symptoms where they need mechanical ventilation than people who do not smoke or do not vape. So as we know, the pandemic is still going on, research is still going on, so we're learning more and more how smoking affects people who have COVID-19 or how smoking can affect people who do not have COVID-19 yet.
You answered my question. I was going to ask about those who vape, if they are also at the same risk. Yeah, you did mention that, and that's pretty significant. 2.4% end up in the ventilator. So, besides the obvious, what should people who smoke do, during this pandemic?
Right. Well, as we know, the pandemic has really forced people into different routines, different lifestyles, and because of this huge change, it causes a lot of stress. It might cause people to feel bored or even cause people to have anxiety, and a lot of which are triggers for people to smoke or even relapse. So we find ourselves in a really unique situation where not only are people already smoking, but now they're in a situation where they're triggered more to smoke. So there's nothing like this current pandemic to really urge us to quit smoking. And I just want to say, first of all, we're not here to force anyone to quit. I'm not the smoking police. I won't lose sleep if people don't quit. But if anyone made a resolution to quit smoking, in January or have ever thought about quitting, and in actuality, out of all the people who smoke, there's actually 70% of those people who smoke want to quit, right? A lot of people want to quit. They just don't know how to. So for the people who have that desire, especially with this current pandemic going on where we want to make our lungs stronger, where we want to be our healthiest in order to combat this virus, now is the time to really make that commitment and really set a quit date for quitting. So that's what people who have thought about quitting before should do now.
Yeah, that's very true. And you mentioned earlier that people, especially right now with the stay-at-home mandates everywhere, they're having to stay home. They're going through a lot more stress, and they're kind of in a 2020, right? Because they smoke to relieve stress, but at the same time, it's bad for them. So, tell me, what is one of the first important step for smokers, for people who smoke to do if they're trying to quit?
That's a great question. So, besides making a commitment to want to quit smoking, what they really need to do is find their reason for quitting. Because as we know, a lot of people know that we shouldn't smoke, yet a lot of people continue to do so. However, if there's a reason that really motivates someone to quit that is stronger than maybe that immediate gratification they receive from smoking, that's going to really help them through the quitting process. So, for example, I actually helped one of my friends quit recently. And the reason why she wanted to quit is because she wanted to be a good role model for her daughter, right? She's been smoking since she was 15 years old, and she kind of switched to vape, but still she didn't like how she had to hide all the time from her family. So her strongest reason to quit was so that she could be around her daughter when she gets older and be there physically when her daughter eventually marries the love of her life. So that very first step, besides making a commitment, is really finding your reasons why you personally want to quit. Is really important in this process.
Then also just from reading how important is it to also pick a date, to start the way to quit smoking. Is that true? That it is also important not only to find the reason but also to actually set a date.
And I'm so glad you asked that question, because today is Monday, and Monday is actually one of the best days to quit smoking. It's actually the day that people most Google search how to quit smoking. So even though you might want to pick like a significant day, like a birthday or anniversary to help you remember, it is important more so to just write down the date and really make that commitment in writing to let yourself know and to remind yourself that you're going to quit. Because a lot of people kind of have it in the back of their minds, right? They're like, oh, I'll quit later. I can quit whenever I want. And because they don't write it down, it never comes into fruition. That is why it's so, so, so important that we write it down and we put it somewhere, that date, where we can see every day, maybe on our refrigerator, maybe in our car, maybe as a screensaver in our phone, so that we are remembered of why it is that we want to quit and the date that we quit.
That's a really good idea. I guess just with anything, if we're trying to reach a goal, writing it down, putting it, visually where we can always see it would help. Now with your the 1866 program, are you doing any kind of outreach to people, or are you just waiting for people to call?
Right, so that's a good question. So 1866 New Lung is Orange County's free quit smoking service. We provide free quit smoking services to youth and adults, and these services are in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean, and Farsi. And the reason why it's in those languages is because those are the populations, specifically in Orange County, that have the highest smoking prevalence. So we want to make sure that we have language capabilities that can assist the people who smoke the most. So we have different outreaching strategies we do. We're in social media, we have a website, but more particularly, we have a telephone campaign. So maybe some people want to quit smoking and they don't know how, or they don't know if there are other resources available. We actually are able to do telephone counseling so people can quit from the comfort of their own homes. And what's awesome about our program too is it's absolutely free, no insurance, no nothing necessary, and we mail the nicotine patches directly to the residents. So there won't be any contact with us. We'll just be there on the phone, and once they complete the services, they'll receive the nicotine patches. So our outreaching has been mostly in media and emails and mostly word of mouth in order for people to know that our services are available.
That's really great. As far as resources, you mentioned you're actually mailing out free nicotine patches, because that's one of the hurdles. I think one of the challenges for those who want to quit is that they can't afford to buy the nicotine patches. Are you seeing them providing that through the whole process, or how does that work?
Right. So since our funding is very limited and we provide services to over 3,000 people every year in Orange County, the most that we're able to provide is a 2-week supply of nicotine patches, which is about $54. So yes, they are very expensive, and we give them Nicoderm CQ brand. But what people don't realize is once they quit smoking, they're saving all that money from not smoking, and they could use that for their nicotine patches. So we kind of give them a jump start with the free supply, and once they continue to quit, they could use that saved money in order to supplement the nicotine patches that they might need more.
Probably be a fun thing to show them, like a mathematical.
We do. We actually have yes. We have a reward sheet in our curriculum. Yeah, that calculates how much someone spends every year, after 10 years, after 20 years. And you'd be surprised, Anna, it is thousands and thousands of dollars. You could buy houses with this amount of money, and people never sit down to actually calculate how much they spend on cigarettes, especially in California where it's taxed so much. New York has such high taxes for cigarettes. Hawaii, it's so expensive to smoke nowadays.
Yeah. Well, hopefully that amount alone will encourage somebody, right, to motivate somebody to quit smoking. Now, you mentioned that 1866 New Long is specific to your region. Is there a national hotline that people can access, since we are being watched by other people?
Mm-hmm. Well, ours is in our county, like I mentioned. For California, there's a 1-800-NO-BUTS, and that's the California Smokers Helpline. But nationally, there's smokefree.gov. They have a lot of different resources on their website that can help people quit smoking.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Is there anything else about your program that you'd like to share with us?
Sure. So since we're here, on Eagle News, we wanted to provide a promotion for anyone, even if you're not in Orange County, to receive some kind of free help material to quit smoking. So if you go to our website, 1-866-NEW-LUNG.com, and you contact us, just give them the code. The code is Eagle News. And if you send us that code and contact us on our website, we will send a free ebook on how to quit smoking or quit vaping.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, Jana. Thank you so much. You've shared so much helpful information. And hopefully, those who are watching, even if you don't smoke yourself, share it with someone you know that can benefit from that program. Thank you again, Jana.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Coming up, ABC's Mike Hudson has got another fun workout for us. He says, some of us are going to love it. The ABC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic North America edition. We'll be right back. Stay with us. This is the ABC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic North America edition. I'm Anna Kui, coming to you from Las Vegas. While no one here will judge you if you just want to binge watch Digital Nest, which is another portal of ours, as part of your fundemic time at home, we do want to remind you that shortness of breath is an early sign of COVID-19. So if you've been exercising, if you're one of those who exercise regularly and you notice a change in yourself, only you know your body the best, make sure that you do pay attention to those symptoms. That's why Michael Hudson is back with us again today. This time he's sharing a quick run workout that he's created just for you, our Eagle News viewers. Let's take a look.
What's going on, guys? Hope you're doing well. It's a beautiful morning here in Washington, state of Washington. I wanted to take you guys through a quick cardio slash sprint slash run workout you can do during your quarantine. All you need is you, yourself, and you. No equipment necessary. So let's get to work. Oh man, what a workout. Hope this video was helpful for you guys. And this workout is specifically for people who are kind of suffering from cabin fever right now, just want to get out for a good half hour or so. Remember, if you do go outside, make sure you practice social distancing, because that's the key in stopping this virus. So I really hope you guys enjoyed the workout. I think it's always nice to go outside and get some fresh, crisp, fresh air into your lungs, enjoy nature, enjoy God's creations. So I hope you guys enjoyed this workout. Let me know what else you want me to share as far as workouts go. Michael Hudson, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Good night.
Thank you so much for that, Mike. Just watching that made me a little bit short of breath. But good reminder to keep exercising. That way we can maintain our health to fight the virus better. A few reminders before we end today. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Cover your mouth and nose if sneezing or coughing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid contact with sick people. If you are sick, stay home and call your healthcare provider. Practice social distancing. Keep distance between yourself and others and avoid crowds as much as possible. COVID-19 is the enemy, not each other. And finally, join me and the Eagle News team in a round of applause for our frontline and essential workers. That is today's ABC International coverage of the Coronavirus Pandemic North American edition. Thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Kui. We live in interesting times.